At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
We're broadcasting relationship truths and scientific discoveries with a comedian's touch. The Last Show with David Cooper.
It's that time. It is time for Technology Time. We are joined by Carmi Levy to discuss the tech industry stories of the day. And I know exactly where Carmi is because I planted a Find My Apple AirTag tracker inside his body. Don't ask which. You know what? If I describe that joke anymore, I'm going to get fired. Carmi, welcome to the show.
Good to be with you, David. Thanks for having me. Hang on while I fish that thing out of my pocket. There we go.
All right, you're fired too. We're all fired. Now, I got my laptop stolen and my keys stolen when I was traveling, and I was able to track the stuff to a dumpster. But when I told the cops that stuff was on, I mean, they were Spanish police, your mileage may vary. They were like, great, we're not going into an apartment complex without a warrant. I think they were just too lazy to come with me to the scene of the crime. I've seen videos where people have stolen iPhones and they immediately say like, police notified, deet, deet, deet. And then I Googled it. That feature is not available to consumers. That's only when iPhones get stolen from an Apple store. I feel like there's two tiers of, hey, your device is going to get sent to the cops and they're going to come find you because it's tracked. And the consumer end of the hardware, will the cops do anything? Maybe. But if it's a company that loses things or, out of the back of a truck, a case of iPhones disappears, there is great tracking available. It's just not in the hands of the consumer.
Yeah, and I think the reminder here, too, is if your phone is stolen and you're thinking of using Find My to get it back yourself, you might want to think twice. There have been cases, including one in my hometown, where individuals have tried to meet the individuals afterward, and they ended up becoming victims of crime. In one local case, he was actually murdered.
Wow.
So the advice from companies like Apple and Google, because Google has a Find My device, Apple has Find My, they always say use it to localize it and then share that information with law enforcement, who will then, if they're into it, will help you find your, get your stuff back. Or, if you're in Spain, probably not. But never take the law into your own hands.
No, no phone is worth it.
Oh, no, just get a new one. You're getting an upgrade. That's all it means. And especially now, you often hear people because, all of my pictures are on it, all of my data is on it. Well, most phones, the apps are connected to cloud-based services. Really all you need to do, if you've done your setup properly and if you've configured all your backups properly, when you get a new phone, you sign into your account, everything replicates back out of the cloud and you pick up right where you left off. So I've lost years of photos and personal data, doesn't fly anymore. A phone is not worth it.
It absolutely isn't. I still haven't sorted my backup situation since I got a new laptop.
We should talk.
I know. And I just put in the insurance claim and not paying for the whole laptop. Great. Fantastic. That's not important. Let's go to this story where Find My has led cops to thousands of phones. It's like a crime ring of stolen iPhones in the UK.
Yeah, so a person in London, England, had their phone stolen and used the Find My feature to locate it.
Big London. I feel like people don't say this.
The real London with the cool accent. Yeah.
Well, I feel like people don't say this, but I would like this to be a part of the Canadian zeitgeist. Little London is London, Ontario, where you live in Canada, and Big London is London, England. What do you think?
I like that. Yeah.
Big London, Little London.
Let's go with that. Okay, so
All
Big
right.
London,
There you go.
good London.
Thank you.
So they trace it to a warehouse, and they hand that information. They call the cops, and they hand it over to the cops. And as it turns out, the police force, they were already investigating a phone smuggling ring, and tens of thousands of devices were disappearing. And they went to the location that the individual had provided them, and they found hundreds, 894 other phones, to be more precise, and they were all pinging on Find My, so they were all findable, the ones that had power. And then they used that information to find another cache of stolen phones, 2,000 stolen phones. They think that they were on their way to China. They were being smuggled out of the country, where they would fetch upwards of $5,000 a piece. And so the cops are saying that the thing now, a lot of criminals are getting out of drug smuggling, and they're getting into phone smuggling, because apparently you make more money smuggling a phone into another country than you do drugs.
It's also like a little easier to smuggle in. I feel like, customs dogs aren't sniffing for phones. They're sniffing for drugs. And fruit.
I'm pretty sure the beagles at Pearson, who I always want to pet when I'm there, they have not been trained on sniffing out iPhones. So yeah, but this is a huge problem. It's growing. More law enforcement agencies are finding larger smuggling rings for devices, because they're small, they're highly valuable, and they are easy to stash across a border. So that's something to keep in mind. The first thing you do when you get a phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, is make sure that you know how the Find My or Find My Device app works. Set it up, play with it, test it, so that you know what to do in case the phone does in fact disappear, whether it's lost or stolen.
Now, I do want to tell a story about beagles. It's a total tangent, but I was here in New York. I was flying in pre-customs. I think I was in Newark Airport, and there was like a young blonde girl. She couldn't have been older than 25. And she just didn't look like a hardened criminal. And a drug dog, what I thought was a drug dog, alerted on her bag. And I'm, on the carousel. And I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm just about to watch this girl's life ruined. Was she trafficking bricks of cocaine? What is going on? And then I was right next to them. And the customs official with the dog just said to her, do you have any fruit or vegetables in the bag? And she's like, oh yeah, I have an orange. And he's like, come with me. I didn't realize those dogs in the airport, they're not just sniffing for drugs, they're sniffing for fruit, because, it can affect the agriculture, or if there's a fruit disease that gets smuggled in or something.
Oh, yeah. It's a really big deal. I've been rebuked. I once crossed in the car, and I had a bag of snacks, and one of them was dried fruit. And I learned a hard lesson that day, that you don't bring any kind of fruit, dried or otherwise, across, because, yeah, it can cause serious issues with disease being carried across borders. And thankfully, those dogs are in the airport, although I think you've been watching too many movies, because it doesn't really play it like that in real life, but
No, I hope she's okay. I imagine they just confiscated the orange.
Yeah, I would imagine that. It's like, I don't think she's going to prison for carrying an orange across.
Life in jail.
That's right. You just lose your orange, you're going to go hungry for the next leg of your journey.
I'm picturing like a court, like in a Dickens novel, where a kid just like steals a loaf of bread and gets life in prison.
That's right.
All right.
No bread for you. Sorry.
So I guess that drug ring, or that phone smuggling ring, not drug ring, was broken up. Let's go to our next story here. Later in the show, we're going to talk about how AI videos are basically ruining society. With our conspiracy theory.
How they are, yeah.
With our conspiracy theory expert talking about how like you won't be able to trust anything you see anymore. But I want to talk about the specific tools, this OpenAI Sora tool. It is making disinformation widely available to use. If you want to create some, boom, OpenAI.
So OpenAI introduced the first version of its video generator app, Sora, about a year and a half ago. Then they upgraded it to Sora 2 just last week, and it is much better than it used to be. So it's much more realistic. The resolution is higher. The shadows, the shadings are amazing. There are no more tells on the edges of elements. The physics are phenomenal. It's so real you can't tell the difference between AI generated and real video. So of course the internet is now being flooded with content that is synthetic, generated using this tool. That always happens when a new tool is released. People roll up their sleeves.
Carmi, people are showing example videos of a certain World War II dictator saying ridiculous things. I feel like every time a video platform is launched now, people just make the most ridiculous, most offensive things to show that you can right away.
Yeah, what can you get away with? And so you're seeing videos of, attacks on city streets, immigration protests, ballot fraud, like celebrities. They're seeing which celebrities can they replicate. And apparently the older celebrities, it'll work. Newer celebrities, it won't. And so they'll try to see what they can get away with. And of course, if it goes viral in the process, even better for them. But of course, this only fuels misinformation and disinformation. It floods the internet with deepfakes. And most of them are well-intentioned. People are just having fun. But let's face it, it's really easy to cross that line. And we're seeing that now. We saw the same thing when Google introduced VO3 earlier this year. And now Sora 2 is even better than that. And even worse, OpenAI has introduced Sora, the app. So it's an app on iOS and soon on Android. And it's almost like TikTok for AI-generated videos. So it includes an algorithmic feed. And so you create these videos and then you share them with your network. And so they're not just allowing you to create the content, they're allowing you to find an audience and go viral, which, is kind of, terrifying squared.
Police reported ahead. Up next with Carmi Levy, we're going to talk about Waze, the app that warns you about cameras, traffic issues. Police is going to have a new reporting feature to make it even easier to use that, and hopefully, inform other drivers on what's on the road. We will be back with Carmi in a moment.
So good, so good, so good.
Just in, thousands of winter arrivals at your Nordstrom Rack store. Save up to 70% on coats, slippers, and cashmere from Kate Spade, New York, Vince, UGG, Levi's, and more.
Check out these boots.
They've got the best gifts.
My holiday shopping hack? Join the Nordy Club.
Get an extra 5% off every Rack purchase with your Nordstrom credit card. Plus, buy it online and pick it up in-store the same day for free. Big gifts, big perks. That's why you Rack.
Exploring both interstellar and interpersonal space-time continuums. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Traffic hazard reported ahead. That traffic hazard is Carmi Levy, because watch out, he's got some tech facts for you on It's Time for Technology Time. Carmi, do you use the app Waze to see what's on the road, whether it's a speed trap or a car stopped or maybe a traffic slowdown? I certainly do.
I do. Even if I'm going to the supermarket, just a couple of kilometers away, I use it because I like to know what's the state of the roads between here and where I need to go. It's incredibly handy. But I've always been really wary of the feature that allows you to report when there's traffic, when there's an accident, when there's a speed trap or anything like that, because I don't want to be playing with my app while I'm driving. I find it really distracting. So I appreciate that other people do it, but I don't want to participate in it because I find it distracting.
It's always so dangerous to press that button and mark what's on the road. I'm like, that's distracting.
That's right. And it isn't just one button, right? You press one to report it, and then a menu pops up, and you have to choose the type of event that you're sharing. And then you have to press it again to go back to just regular navigation. So it's a whole bunch of different things. And it's one thing if you're just walking along the road and using your smartphone. It's quite another if you're driving. And so I just can't do that while I'm driving. It's almost like a video game, and it's not for me. So they've introduced this new feature. They call it conversational reporting. So it reduces it to one touch. All you do is press the reporting button on the app, and then from that point forward, you just talk to it, and you don't have to issue commands. This is not like they used to use Google Assistant for it, which you had to remember the right command, which I of course never did. Instead, you just speak naturally. Just say, "Hey, it looks like there's a traffic jam up ahead, and I'm on this road near this intersection," and it takes that, uses AI to figure it out. And then it puts it into the system in the background. You don't have to do anything else. It's much more conversational, much less distracting, and it kind of balances the need to be part of the community, contributing to the community with also not, ensuring that your car doesn't end up wrapped around a hydro pole.
Now, this would be cool. Hopefully more people will use it. I do worry if governments, states, provinces, cities will crack down on it and be like, you're ratting out where the cops are and we're not able to give out any traffic tickets and somehow ban it. I do worry about that.
Yeah, I hope not. I just, so use it, but maybe don't talk about it online, and certainly don't tag the cops when you do. Just do it below the radar, and, we'll be able to have our traffic cake and eat it too.
I remember when Google bought Waze. It
Yeah.
was like, but I thought somehow they would merge Google Maps and Waze, but they still haven't.
They've kept them separate. They've kept their development team on its own. They've kept the branding separate. Interestingly, they have introduced some features from Waze, like that community reporting, that have shown up in Google Maps. And so bit by bit, Google Maps is becoming more like Waze. But Waze is still wildly popular. And I think Google has very rather intelligently decided not to kill it.
Yeah, it's unusual, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen because usually eventually once, a few months or a few years go by, when no one else is paying attention, they sort of quietly kill it or fold
or they
it into their
cannibalize it
existing.
and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But this time, I think it was 2014 when they bought them. At the time, it was their biggest acquisition to date. They spent about $1 billion buying the company. And here we are over a decade later, and Waze is still going strong. That does not happen often in tech.
We hear of cyber attacks taking down banking websites. We hear of cyber attacks, stealing people's money, ruining people's life. But the most worrisome example is when it comes straight for people's beer. And that is exactly what has happened in Japan. A beer company fell victim to a cyber attack, and now they're struggling to make beer, which is like, in a million years, if you had me guess what form of cyber attack would be the most weird and bizarre, I would not guess this.
This is when we know the apocalypse is upon us, at least if you live in Japan. So it's Asahi beer. They suffered a ransomware attack, and so their order, shipment, call center operations, they've all been taken offline, and they're literally reduced to manually processing orders. So on the phone with pens and paper, speaking to actual people. Nothing online is working. So they say that they're not sharing any more details beyond the fact that it was a ransomware attack, so we don't know if data was included in this. Was it breached? And they're still investigating, still trying to recover from it. But according to the Financial Times, they say that Asahi Super Dry, which is the country's most popular beer, will probably run dry this weekend across the country. If this thing isn't resolved, if they don't go back to online production. And so that kind of illustrates, we keep hearing stories of successful ransomware attacks, but doesn't really hit home until it affects something that, is directly part of your life. And I guess in Japan, beer is a big thing. Asahi is a big thing. And I think now they're learning, maybe we should be focusing a little bit more, paying a little more attention to cybersecurity, because this time it's beer. Next time it could be something even worse.
Did you intend for that amazing pun that Asahi Super Dry was going to run dry? Or did you just try to pull that past us without saying, without trying to get a laugh there? Or was that unintentional?
Well, as you know me, I love my beer. So, yeah.
Do you?
Maybe it was part. No, not really.
Oh, I mean,
I'm not much of a drinker. Although interestingly, my middle name literally means my vineyard. So the irony that my parents named me after an alcoholic beverage, wine, and yet I'm really not much of a drinker. I'm one of those rare journalists that does not drink all that much. But yeah, strange how that works out. And yet here I am talking about stories related to alcohol. Go figure.
I get it. I'm in recovery. I actually just hit 6 years in September, but I remember loving. Thank you. I remember loving Asahi. It's like sort of like a more refreshing, good beach beer, good hot day beer. It's a great beer. I miss it.
Yeah, well, to me, beer has to be cold, and I think I count in decades the last time I actually had a beer. It has to be cold. The instant it gets warm, I can't say that word on radio, but I really don't like the taste of it or the feel of it. I will stick to water or I don't know, iced tea, but definitely not beer for me. I guess that makes me un-Canadian.
Our last story, Carmi, takes on one of the biggest companies in the world in terms of market cap, NVIDIA. We often talk about the electrical requirements of large language models and video generation and AI. We talk about the warehouses, the power, but we don't often talk about the specialized hardware. And the hardware these computers run to crunch those numbers are the same chips that run video games. Basically, the kind of hardware that's really good at crunching numbers to generate 3D video is also great at crunching numbers to generate your next word in your ChatGPT question. And NVIDIA has had almost like a stranglehold on creating this specialized hardware. But AMD is entering the market. I mean, they've always been in the market, but now they're basically trying to compete with NVIDIA, and they're succeeding.
Yeah, I find this, it's all about power and processing capabilities. So you need these massively powerful chips known as graphics processing units, or GPUs. And so NVIDIA has been the leader in this market. Turns out that the GPUs that it built into its gaming cards for years were also really good at crunching AI workloads.
The kind of math that can generate a 3D image is a very similar kind of math that's needed to power things like ChatGPT. And that's kind of surprising to people. So they think, what does it have to do with graphics? It's just words. But no, it's that kind of mathematics that these chips are so good at doing that makes them so desirable. It also makes them desirable for cryptocurrency, but that's a conversation for another day. Regardless, you know what? It's crazy. 10 years ago, if you wanted to play video games, you'd go and you'd buy one of these cards for a couple $100. Now that same card, 10 years of quality down the road, is now thousands because of this demand. This market is ripe to tap, and it's good to see AMD doing that.
It is. And so essentially this explains why NVIDIA is worth $4.6 trillion, one of the most valuable companies in the world. And the OpenAI, which of course is the biggest AI player right now, they're making deals left, right, and center. A couple of weeks ago, they made a $100 billion deal with NVIDIA to buy data center capacity and that powered by NVIDIA chips. Now they've done the same thing with AMD. They're going to buy 6 gigawatts of computing power, which is way more than just a light bulb, from data centers that will be packed with servers running on AMD chips. And so in a way, OpenAI is basically buying as much capacity as it can from everyone to power that next generation of large language models, AI tools like Sora 2 that they just released. That takes a lot of compute power, and you do that by locking up the capacity with companies like AMD and NVIDIA and others.
All right. Well, Carmi, thank you for joining me on the show. Appreciate you.
Thanks so much, David. Great being here.